Sleeping Beauty, you think she was awoken by this handsome, dashing prince? No, he raped her. You know, the original fairy tales were nothing like the Disney stories we read now, sanitized and whitewashed. Disney does a great job. The original story goes that as she was lying there, he came upon her, and he was so besotted by his egoic desire to overpower and control and be dominated by his earthly desires that he rapes her. And she wakes up not with a gentle kiss from the dashing prince, but from the birth of her children, one of whom sucks on her finger and takes out the poison, mistaking it for the bosom. The frog prince, who must be magically exterminated, the frog in us all, by this magical kiss again. But that's not how the original story was told. So the frog goes to the girl, whoever she was, this beautiful damsel, and begs for her to kiss him to be rid of this curse. But the girl in this story, she's smart, and she will not be taken for a fool for the frog. And so she slams the frog against the wall, and the frog shatters his external egoic self. And Cinderella, you know, he just didn't find her by slipping on the glass slipper. No, the first stepsister, she cut her heel off, and the fool of the prince believed that it was her. And then the dove told him, no, it isn't her. So then the next stepsister was a little smarter. She cut off her toes to fit into the slipper, and again the prince believed her, until the dove said no. And then he found Cinderella. But what a story, I know, dark and very dire to tell our children, but it teaches them subconsciously that do not lie passively waiting, dependent on some prince, because you will be screwed. In this case, literally. There is no kiss from another that will save you from your own dark, deep shadow. True love, our true soul partners, will only be discovered after a process of discernment of self and other. But none of these valuable life lessons are being taught to our children in the Disney stories. Life wasn't supposed to be this way. This is what they told us as children, that life was this fairy tale. A parent who is unable to witness the child's pain because of the parent's own unresolved issues around pain, failure, disappointment. That child who doesn't have that witness will simply be unable to integrate pain in their own life and use it as a vehicle for growth. You know, if you ask me what kinds of pain I've experienced as a therapist, I will probably say I've seen mostly all of it. From the mother whose eyes scream of a despair bordering on an insanity as she whispers to me the most ungraspable of realities. And then she was gone, she whispers. I looked away for 2 minutes, and then she was gone. Speaking of her toddler who tottered into the pool, unsupervised, for just a blink of an eye, and then she was gone. Or the unsuspecting wife who sits on the couch as her husband turns to her and tells her, no, I do not love you anymore, and I really need to leave. And he too, filled with pain himself, walks out of the office and out of her life, leaving her mouth agape in disbelief, the torrential dismay, anxiety, fear, and betrayal. If only we realize that it is when we surrender to that emptiness, it is essentially fullness. And your earthly egoic self will only be shattered by a lot of pain. And after pain will come your humanity. I no longer see pain as something so dark and dire and disruptive, something to be avoided at all costs. On the contrary, I see it as not only as profound, but as inevitable, and one of the most powerful portals of consciousness we can have.